Hey, what's up everybody, Crazy here, back with some more Anthem news, and we have some brand new information on the content that we'll get to see in the upcoming months in this game. There's a 90-day content roadmap. This has been posted on the official Bioware blog by the head of live service, so there's a lot of details in it. We're going to check that in just a bit. There's also some talk here about the feedback that they're getting, the stuff that they're getting ready for the game, and you can do a follow-up read if you want to, but for the most part, I'm interested in this 90-day content roadmap towards the end of the post itself. So we're going to check that right now and see how good it is. See if there's anything worrying about it, see if there's anything good about it, and of course it contains Act 1. This is Act 1 out of 3. There's 3 in total, and the first year of release for Anthem is going to see these 3 acts. It seems that each act will last for 3 or 4 months. It depends. The first one, of course, will end up towards May, so we're going to see exactly what each month has in store for us. Let's first begin with the recurring updates, and this is something you'll continuously see being in the game and happening throughout all of the update stages. We have the quality of life stuff like fixes, improvements and optimizations. We already had a couple of patches for that, so I'm glad that Bioware is bringing in more of these in the game. Then we have the weekly alliance coin, something already in the game, as well as with the daily, weekly, monthly challenges, and finally the store refresh. This is of course the vanity store that this is talking about. So this is like the regular stuff that we're going to see at any given time, so I'm not going to stay too much on it. What is most important is what follows after it. Of course, we first have the month of February, which is almost done, and we already had a free play event called Outlaw Outrage. This was completed probably yesterday when this new event, Derby Giants, just started, and I did it for a couple of minutes. There's nothing new in terms of content here. It's the same old titans that we used to fight anyway. In terms of loot, I haven't seen anything special, at least not from the titans themselves, but I did hear that that the event itself, if you complete it, will reward you some cosmetics. Not really sure if that is 100% correct, so if anybody knows, go ahead and comment down below and tell me, because I haven't finished this event as of yet. Then of course, in a couple more days, we're going to also have Shaper Surge, a new free play event, and it kind of makes sense. I mean, the month is almost ending, so it's just these free play events that we get. A nice little twist, a nice little refresh, kind of gives you an incentive to go into free play, but not really that much in terms of content. I was expecting a little bit more, but at least the Shaper Surge sounds a little bit more interesting than the previous 2 events. But moving on to March is when things start becoming a little bit more interesting, but just a bit. Content does take off a little bit in March, but not that much. First, we have the Elysian Stronghold caches. These will be the rewards you will get from completing strongholds, and these caches or boxes will contain cosmetics, up to 100 of them. Well, from a pool of 100 items, you can drop 1, maybe 2 randomly, and you get these and you can unlock these simply by finishing daily challenges. These daily challenges will give you a key, and then you can use this key at the end of the stronghold when you defeat the end boss. I honestly cannot wait to see this, because I was looking at means of getting new cosmetics in the game, and I kind of don't want to spend neither my coins, neither spend real world money on the cash shop itself, so I'm kind of glad that this is going to be at the beginning of March by the looks of it. Then we have some new items, new rewards, and by the looks of it, this might not be cosmetic items, but actually in-game items. We have that background image of a masterwork item unlocking, so I was kind of hoping for some new masterwork and legendary items to have some brand new effects on them, something more interesting than the current ones we have. Not that there's not interesting effects in the game currently, but I really want to see something more on top of them, so having new items as rewards is a really big plus for me. Then we're going to have the legendary missions. This is phase 1. If you missed this talk, it basically boils down to this. So what Bioware plans to do is to bring in all of the story missions at high level, so you can repeat them as legendary missions on much higher difficulties and with much better rewards. Of course, there's going to be multiple phases, and this kind of makes me think that they're going to release a few missions in the first phase, another few missions in the second phase, and probably the rest in the third phase, if that even exists. So having them as legendary versions of them, I guess it's alright, but keep in mind that this is still the same old content, so even more so in March, this is like almost half of it, maybe even more, and it's still no new content except for the stronghold caches and maybe some new items. It's even more so when you check the rest of the content, and it's pretty much in in the form of free play events. One of them is locked, we don't really know much about it, we don't really know what this is, but the rest of them are pretty much events that have already been seen. For example, there's going to be Derby Giants and the Auto Outrage event once more, so it seems that these will be recurring. Then there's going to be another one at the end of the month, and this is going to be another free play event of which we don't really have any more details. March is going to be a hell of a month. Division 2 will be releasing, I'm going to be playing it, so I think this is the month when Anthem is going to lose a lot of its players, because I mean there's another looter shooter on the horizon. I'm going to play the heck out of it, and by the looks of it there's nothing keeping me playing for that duration. For some people, and including myself, that's not really a bad thing. I really like leaving a game for a time, letting it roll its updates and then come back and see what it got. This is something that I really like doing, but I will be covering more stuff about Anthem in the meantime, more news, more guides and all of that. It's just that I might not be playing it as much, not with the Division 2 on the horizon. But with that being said, let's move over to April, and there's some cool stuff in here as well. The first one is of course the mastery system. This is another form of progression after reaching the end game. There's no info about it yet, but it's most probably going to boil down to having some points you can invest in order to increase your efficiency even more. It's most probably something that you already saw in other games that did this, so you know, it's still good. Having a mastery system is still good, especially now since we don't actually have a pilot skill system to talk about because it was scrapped. And tell me what you're expecting from this. Tell me what's your favorite mastery system in any video game up until now. Go ahead and comment down below what stuff do you want to see in this mastery system. What's the most interesting thing you saw being done in something like this in other video games? I'm really curious to see, and I'm going to try to read as many replies as possible. In the meantime, we're going to get some more item rewards, some new free play events. Of course, there's almost half a month filled with these free play events, of which we have no info at the time of making this video. So all of these are Cortex locked, as you can obviously see. This kind of worries me a little bit. It kind of means that not even Bioware has enough information to give us yet. Either they don't really know what these free play events will be about, maybe they are still in development, or they might contain some spoilers and obviously they don't want to talk too much about it. So either one of these, but it kind of looks worrying that for the better month of April we're going to have these free play events. These free play events, they could be good if they brought in new content, but since they are pretty much rehashed content, it's a little bit worrying, and they kind of go on for the better part of the month of April. Then we have Legendary Missions Phase 2, but towards the end of the month is when things become truly interesting. We have a brand new stronghold called the Sunken, and this is really interesting. I'm really curious to see what this is about. I think that Anthem should have a lot more strongholds in the game. I think that strongholds right now are probably its best type of content. It's long, it's challenging, it's rewarding, it's fun, and I really want to see more of that. So hopefully they will introduce something like this in the future. I don't really care about the open world events at all, even more so about the cataclysms, unless it's something even bigger than strongholds. If it's like a raid or something like that, I will care about it, and it sounds interesting. But for the most part, for me, for the people like me, we really love strongholds. We want more of these, and the more Bioware brings in, the better. But so far this is going to be just the 4th stronghold, and this is going to be after 2 months of almost not really that much. So again, as I've said, a lot of potential, but also a lot of stuff that is worrying me. Then we also have something called weekly stronghold challenges, and I could have sworn we already had something like this in the game. Maybe some new form of rewards. Nonetheless, moving on towards the end of April is when we finally get to see, or should see, the leaderboards, and even more so the guilds. And I really want to have that guild system in the game as soon as possible. I want to form up my own guild, get in all of the people on my Discord who are playing on the PC version, and so is the case with the leaderboards. Not really sure what leaderboards will look like, but hopefully there's going to be some rewards in there for the top spots. I'm just saying. Then moving on to May is when we'll get to see the cataclysms. These cataclysms have been said in interviews before that they are a form of aspirational content and should be bigger than strongholds. These should be closer to the raid type content that you can see in other games, including Destiny. And this isn't something that I'm making up, this is something that that was talked in an interview, I believe by Chad Robertson if I'm not mistaken, but somebody over at Bioware did actually mention this. I'm going to need to pull out the interview once more, but it's like super hard to find because it was like a while back. But of course, after the Cataclysm starts in May, we're going to have some new free play events, new missions, and of course new rewards. So is that good enough or is it not? Post your opinions down below. Do you think this is enough to keep you going? I'm going to try to reply to as many people as possible. In the meantime, if you enjoyed this video, a thumbs up would be super appreciated. Also don't forget to hit that subscribe button, and I'll see you guys next time, so peace.